and welcome to the Reluctant Sisters podcast. My name is Adrienne. I'm the Reluctant Knitter. So where you can find me? You can find me on Instagram as the Reluctant Knitter and on Ravelry as Reluctant Knitter with no E in the knitter. And we also have a podcast group on Ravelry, the Reluctant Sisters podcast group. So welcome everyone. To new viewers, welcome. I hope you like it, and to returning viewers, welcome back. I hope you still like it. And to returning viewers, you may notice that I have changed my podcast setup. So a couple of things. I'm hoping that this lighting will be good. I also changed, it's my dog, if you couldn't tell. I also changed my camera, so I am using not the forward-facing camera on my phone, the rear-facing camera, because it's a better camera. So the downside to that is I cannot see myself. So I really hope that everything comes across okay, and I really hope that that I don't look crazy. So, well, I mean, doesn't matter what camera I use, I'm crazy. I'm coming to you from Connecticut, southern Connecticut, where I live with my husband, Sean, and our Great Dane, Elizabeth Bennett. So if you're a returning viewer, you've seen her shenanigans. I'm not sure how many shenanigans we will have now that I've changed where I am, because she can't get in my chair with me. So she may try. All right. So a couple of podcast news. So we have a couple of KALS in the podcast now. We have the first one is a sock cowl. So this is running for 3 months, January 1st to March 31st. I'm gonna do the rules and everything in this episode, but then I probably won't do them in subsequent episodes, because I do actually have a cowl update video, and all of the rules will be in the FO threads in the Ravelry group. But I will go through the rules. So this is a sock cowl. So one pair of adult non-shorty socks equals 1 entry, and there's no limit to the amount of socks that you can enter. Whips are allowed if, she's like hanging her head. Liz, come over here, come here. Whips are allowed if they were started after January 1st. I am also doing a knit a pair of socks with me video. I'm hoping to have it up by February 1st. I'd love to have it up before February 1st. I will show those in my whips. And if you happen to, after I get the video up, knit the pair of socks that I'm knitting in my video, then you get 1 extra entry. So you can post your FO picture twice of those socks. And you're also responsible for posting any double entries yourself, because I can't go through and figure out who gets double entries. I'm just gonna pick a random number from the Ravelry FO thread. So yeah, so please do that. You must be a member of my Ravelry group, and you're also gonna get an extra entry. If you knit those socks, you get an entry, but if you are a subscriber to the channel and you comment on my video and you like it, not this video, the sock video, then you'll get an extra entry, so you can post that pair of socks 3 times. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And you can multi-dip in other cowls if you so wish, as with all of my knit-alongs. If you'd like to participate on Instagram or social media, you can use the hashtag RKSockCowl. Okay. Next is the Fiber Fest sweater cowl. This is just an adult sweater cowl. You don't have to be going to a Fiber Fest to participate. However, if you do go to a Fiber Fest, you can get an extra entry. So any adult sweater, Liz, stop. Any adult sweater, Liz, stop, counts as an entry with a limit of 2 sweaters. And that the reason why is because most fiber festivals are 2 days. Okay. Whips are included if started after January 1st. And you don't, like I said, have to be going to a fiber festival to participate. However, if you are going to a fiber festival and you wear your sweater, you can post a picture of yourself at the festival wearing your sweater. You can post it an additional time. So that sweater will have like an FO picture and then you at the Fiber Fest picture. So it gets you an extra entry. This was actually going until October 31st because I'm going to Rhinebeck, and Rhinebeck is in October. However, there is, I guess, the New England Fiber Festival in November. So I've pushed it to November 15th, and that gives you enough time to go to the festival and post a picture of yourself wearing your sweater. If there is a fiber festival later than that I am missing, please let me know. And I am co-hosting this knit along with Andrea, the cat lady, who has a podcast. I think it's the Cat Lady Podcast. So, okay, so there's going to be 2 FO threads. There's going to be one in my podcast group, and there's going to be one in her podcast group. You don't have to post in both if you don't want to. Post in mine, post in hers, or post in both. And there will be prizes. So I think I already have some prizes in the works. If you are a maker or a designer and you would like to donate a prize, please contact me or contact her so that we can get some prizes for both podcast groups. And then also for the sock cowl, there will be a prize. As soon as I have it in hand, I will post it in the FO thread what the prize is. And also for the Fiberfest sweater cowl, I will be buying a skein of yarn at Rhinebeck for one of the prizes, for a contribution to the prize. Now, the hashtag for this is RK Sweater Cowl 2019. And the hashtag for the Cat Lady Podcast cowl is hashtag cat with 2 T's, Cat Lady Sweater Cowl. So, I guess the other thing is too, the more entries we have and the more interest that's generated, I will try to maybe do some more prizes. So we'll see how well it goes. We could possibly do a prize from the chatter thread or do a prize from Instagram, an Instagram hashtag prize. So yeah, so get excited about it because the more interest we have, the more prizes we can give. Okay. All right, so getting into, I guess, getting into FOs. So I have one FO. I'm wearing it right now. It is my Elton Cardigan by Joji Locatelli. I'm not going to stand up because I don't want to mess up the camera angle or anything, so I will hopefully post a picture of me wearing it standing up so you can see it. Okay, so I knit this out of Knit Picks. Let me just get it up. I'm so sorry. I have my notes down here. So I knit it out of, I love the Ravelry. I love Ravelry, but I hate the Ravelry when I log into it on like a tablet or a phone. If I go out of it, even if I don't close the web browser, it makes me sign in like every time. Okay, so I knit this out of Knit Picks Stroll in white. That's the solid color. It's a fingering weight. And then the mohair is Knit Picks Aloft, also in white. A couple of other things about this pattern is that it's written with a lot of positive ease. So I actually knit, I think like a couple of sizes down, like lower than what I normally do. So I took my measurements and then I looked at the finished measurements of what I wanted it to be. And then I knit that size. So I knit a medium. It is a teensy bit, like it could stand to be a little bit tighter. I'm sorry, not tighter, looser in the arms, but the body is quite comfortable. So it's not too tight in the arms. It just could be like a little bit looser. It's not really that big of a deal. Yeah, and this was my first experience with a tubular bind off. It's tubular, dude. Throwback to the 90s. Is that 90s? I can't remember. A tubular cast off bind off is, you know, it's more work, but it's supposed to give it more of a finished edge, like a more commercial looking edge. And I enjoyed it. I'm glad I learned a new technique. So that was exciting for me. So yeah, I guess whatever. And then I just got some regular buttons, just these like, frosted kind of white buttons. I was thinking of getting maybe a different color button to kind of contrast, but I went with something a little more simple. So that's my finished object. I have whips. I have 3 whips, so works in progress. So my first one, since I started talking about the sock cowl, I'll show that to you first. Sorry. So this is and here comes, Liz to check it out. What happened? That's what she's saying. What happened, Mom? Okay, so this is just, I'm just calling this twisted stitch socks. It's not really, it's not even a pattern. Like, I use that term loosely, a pattern I made up. It's not really, it's just a twisted stitch. But I am knitting this out of self-striping. So I tend to do I like to do a little bit of interest on my self-striping, but not too much to take away from it. So this is what they look like. This is in White Birch Fiber Arts in Study in Peach and Mint. And I got this at Rhinebeck 2018. I am obsessed with this color. I love it so much. It's really just so much fun. This teal is like my fave. So it's so pretty. Okay, so these are the socks that I'm going to be knitting on my Knit a Pair of Socks with Me video. So the techniques that we're going to be using in that is 2 at a time, toe up, magic loop. As you can tell, we're doing a rounded toe. We're doing a twisted stitch. We're going to do an afterthought heel. And I think I'm going to do a 2x2 twisted rib cuff with a stretchy bind off. So if any of those techniques interest you and you want to learn how to do any of those things, make sure to check my video out when it comes out. So basically I'm just doing a left twist and a right twist on the sock. So one sock has a left twist, one has a right twist, but you could do however you want. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Let me see what else. I'm knitting these on my Chow Goo, which I love. So it's a fixed circular 40-inch cable, 100 centimeter. And I knit these on a US size 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter. And that's what I knit all my socks on. And it's a 64 stitches. So yeah. Oh, one more technique that I do use in the video is Judy's Magic Cast On. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, that's pretty cool too. Next on my whips agenda is a whip that I am really nervous about doing. I'm basically going to have anxiety the entire time knitting this. So this is my Stonecutter, I don't know, Stonecutter sweater, Stonecutter pullover. I'm not really sure what it's called, Stonecutter, by Michelle Wong. So this is, I actually printed the pattern, which I never do. I always use my Knit Companion on my iPad, which is, they changed the name of it. It's Legacy KC is now the name of the app, which I love, but I don't know. I was like a little nervous about all the charting and I thought maybe I'd want to see more than one page at a time. And so that's why I ended up printing it off. So I will show you if you're unfamiliar with what it looks like. Let me try to find a picture because I didn't want to print the very first page basically because it's basically a full color picture. Okay, so this actually doesn't even really show. I mean, it shows the, whatever. I just want to make sure I didn't show something that had like a pattern on it. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, so I'm really nervous about it. So let me show you how far I am because it's not very far at all. I basically just cast on and did all my ribbing. So now it's time to start the cable. So this has a tubular cast on, which I've never done before, but I just did the cast off on this, or the bind off on this. So the technique was definitely familiar to me. I have not yet taken out the waist around. They said you can take it out, but you should go like a couple of inches. So I'm really nervous to take it out. I don't know what I think is going to happen. I'm afraid it's all going to fall apart, I guess, on me, but I mean, it probably shouldn't. But I think I actually might like the cast on more than I like the bind off. And for a little, I actually really thought I was doing this bind off incorrectly, but maybe it's just because of the weight of the yarn. I'm not really sure, but okay. So I am knitting the main body on a US size 8, which is a 5 millimeter needle, which is the recommended needle size, which I got gauge with. I was also really nervous about the gauge because they gave the gauge for like all of the cabling and reverse stockinette. So I was a little nervous. I don't like doing gauge swatches anyway. I do them for sweaters, but they're not my favorite thing to do. So I didn't want to do like 15 gauge swatches. So I was looking at pattern notes and everything, and somebody had said, do your gauge swatch in the cabling, because it has been heard that people have gotten gauge in the reverse stockinette, and then the sweater came out too small, and that's because their cables were tighter. So I did that. I did the gauge swatch in the cabling, and that came out correct. The pattern also doesn't indicate whether it's pre-blocking or post-blocking. It does say that the reverse garter is after blocking, but it doesn't say whether or not it says nothing about the cables. So I'm assuming the cables are pre-blocking. I'm not really sure. It also recommends like 3.5 to 5.5 inches of negative E or positive ease. So the size that I chose should be, I think, like 4 inches of positive ease. So right in the middle. So hopefully it will fit no matter what. Okay. The other thing is that if you are doing a tubular cast on, then you'll need 3 sizes of needles. So you'll need one just for the cast on, you'll need one for the ribbing, and you'll need one for the body. So I did do that. The cast on I did in a US size 5, the ribbing in a US size 6, and like I said, the body is in an 8. This is out of Miss Babs' Yowza, which is a light worsted yarn, which is another thing because the pattern is worsted, but this is a light worsted, so I was nervous about that as well. I'm literally nervous about every single part of this pattern. So really hope it comes out okay. And this is in Best Dressed color. And this is a Wild Iris colorway, so it's not repeatable. So I had this on my Rhinebeck list that I wanted a sweaters quantity for this specific pattern in this specific color, like an oxblood kind of color. So I was on the hunt for that. We wanted to go to Miss Babs anyway, and Miss Babs was one of the last, I think it was the last vendor that we even went to at Rhinebeck. So my sister Sarah went first, and when I got there, she had found this color, and she was like, do you like it? And I said, I love it. And she said, well, there's not enough skeins. There's only 3 and you need 4. So I was like, so she said, well, there's a purple color, and if you like that. So I went and looked, and I said, yeah, it's good. You know, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I'm here. I have the money for it. And it's pretty. So I was holding those. So then she told me, oh, we were on the outside of it, and she saw one down at the bottom. And the way that the walls of the cubes are set up is that you could actually like reach through to the other side and pull like a skein out. So she was like, well, I don't know if this is an extra skein that I didn't account for, or if we're like pulling it from the other side. So I had her hold it. I went to the other side. I had to like basically crawl and get down on my knees because it was very busy in there, and the skeins were all the way down at the bottom. And I found the 3 that she had put back there. So we had a total of 4. I was so excited. So even more so for this sweater to work out. I really hope it works out. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else for me to say about that. All right, next I have one more width. I literally just cast this on last night. This is my Kobukat, and this is by dun, 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 dun. You guys should probably already know who it's by. Oh, Boylan Knitworks. So I just cast it on last night, so I haven't really gotten very far, but this is what it looks like. I'm very excited to have a nice cozy hat. It's going to be a little slouchy. I would show the picture, but it is on my iPad, and because I can't see myself, I don't want to be showing you and thinking you can see it and it'd be like a big glare. So I'll see if I can put a picture in so you can see it if you're unfamiliar with it. Okay, so I'm knitting this out of, the main yarn is DK Weight Cascade Yarns La Merino. It's 50% baby llama, 50% merino wool. It's color number 4, which when I looked it up on Ravelry is Squirrel, which I think is a really accurate name for this. And then the mohair that I'm using is Kid Gloss. So Cape Town collection. Oh, it's Plymouth Yarn Kid Gloss. And this is color number 111. So when I looked up on Ravelry, they didn't have 111 in the drop-down menu. They had 11, which 11 is chinchilla. So it is possible that this is chinchilla. It is possible that 111 is a completely different color and this is not chinchilla. I can't tell you what the name of it is. The ball band says 111. I'm knitting these on my Chowgo. I'm obsessed with Chowgo. Fixed circular, so 16-inch. The ribbing is on a US size 4, 3.5 millimeter, and the main hat will be, I think, on a 6. I didn't do a gauge swatch, but I'm pretty confident. I think I'll probably be fine. US size 6, 4.0. And I also am going to do a faux fur pom-pom, which a couple of episodes ago I showed as a procurement. I'm doing like a DIY. I got a kit with 3 of them in there. So yeah. Oh, and I'm using my stitch marker. I just want to show you guys. This is my little stitch marker. It's an egg. I love eggs. I don't know why. I just love them. I love the shape of them. I like to eat them. I don't know. My sister made like a collection of little eggs, my sister Amy, and so I'm using like a little pink one. I thought it was a cute little pop of color. But she made a little collection of them. So yeah. So that's my last whip, guys. I do have a sad story to tell you, however. I have a knitting fail. My sweater that I was making for my dog, it was the Hunter's Urban Dog Sweater. I think it was by Lion Brand Yarn, and it was a free pattern, and I modified it a little bit, and it came out way too small. So then I took it all out and redid it, and it's not too small. But my dog is a weird shape, being a Great Dane. They have very deep chests, and my dog is quite narrow for a Dane. I'm not sure if she's going to broaden out a little bit. Her bone structure is like really, really narrow. So her chest in between her legs is like literally, I'm not even exaggerating. It's like this big. It's tiny. Okay, so this is the sweater. I'm going to take it out, but I just wanted to show you guys. So everything was wide enough and everything was long enough. However, when I cast on additional stitches, it did make the neck too big, which, I mean, shockingly, this probably looks like it should be right for a Great Dane, but she has a very, very skinny, long, skinny neck. All right, so then what you do is you seam it together from like at the decreases. So it actually should be seamed from here to the neck with this piece like this. So that would make it like, I don't know, 5 inches or whatever of seaming. Okay, which I did. So then I put it on her, and where her shoulders are, it was like pulling over her shoulders. And then this piece is supposed to go down her chest. It was like all jacked up. I can't even explain it. It was jacked up. So I took half of the seaming out, which seemed to correct the problem a little bit. But then what had happened was, because her chest is so narrow, this had to be pulled in really tight to go between her legs. And then when it came out, it wasn't long enough to reach, to stretch over her really, really deep, 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 deep chest. So after putting it on her and taking it off, which she was an amazing sport about, I mean, I can't believe, like, she's actually not a chill dog. I have a hard time calling her high strung. She's not really high strung either. She's just like really wired kind of all the time with, especially if she has like a lot of distractions. But she was like totally cool. I took it on. I also shocked her about 500 times because this was like generating so much static electricity. It was crazy. So it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. And that's okay, right? You win some, you lose some. So I started looking last night for some other dog sweaters. I found one that may possibly work, but I do have to take a break from this for a little bit because feeling not frustrated. I don't think I'm like getting frustrated about it, but it's just like, I'm not excited about it. I'm certainly not excited about it anymore. It's kind of like, you know, on the irritated level. And I don't care anymore. So maybe I'll knit another one before the winter is over. Maybe I'll wait till next fall. Maybe I'll give it a nice long break, wait till next fall, try it again. we'll see. But anyway, c'est la vie, right? That's what happens when you get a dog that's not standard. And they did show it in the pattern. They showed it on a golden retriever, which can be a large, I think it's considered a large dog. I have an extra large dog, and my extra large dog's shape is just very strange. So anyway, that's what happened. All right, so that is all of my knitting stuff, I guess. So maybe I can go into what I'm watching. So as far as knitting related podcasts, I am watching a new to me podcast. She's been around for a while, but it's the We So and So Knitting Podcast. She's from Scotland. I think her name is Cass. That's what it sounds like she's saying. It's probably not very thick. To me, it's very thick Scottish accent, which is one of my favorite accents in the entire world. So I love listening to it. But I think her name is Cass, and I really hope that I'm not messing that up. But anyway, she's in Scotland, and it's a knitting podcast, and yeah, I don't know what else. I really like it. So go check it out. Okay, so there are some non-knitting things that I am watching. The first thing, it's YouTube related. So I watch this podcast called Cheap Lazy Vegan, and I've talked about before in my vlogs and everything, I'm not a vegan. I am a pescatarian, and I do eat dairy, but I am vegan curious, I guess is what they say. So I really enjoy vegan food. I really am interested in vegan recipes and cooking vegan, and I flirt with vegan a lot. So I actually went vegan, I don't know how long ago it is, but it was quite a while ago, like a couple of years ago maybe now. It's got to be more than that, because I've been in this house 3 years, and it was before I moved to this house. So more than 3 years ago. It was a very short period of time that I went vegan, because I subsequently went on vacation shortly after I went vegan. I went on vacation to Mexico, to a resort in Mexico, which is very challenging. You can do it, totally can do it. It's very challenging. So I actually ended up going back to fish while I was on vacation. When I came back, I never went back to vegan. So I've been pescatarian for more than 3 years now. Okay, so anyway, Cheap Lazy Vegan, I really love her. She's from Canada, and she also has a vegan cafe in Canada. I think she's is she in Calgary? And she has a YouTube channel. Well, there's this thing called mukbang, which basically is videos of people eating on camera, and it's really weird. I don't know. I mean, it is an Asian word, so I'm assuming it generated. I haven't done any kind of research on mukbang, but she does mukbang on Mondays, and I've really been enjoying. She just like makes a bunch of food and then like eats it and has a conversation with you while she's eating. I'm sure a lot of people will probably find that horrifying. I'm really enjoying it. I don't know. And maybe it's because ever since I got Invisalign, so I've had Invisalign since August, and I can't eat like I used to. I'm a huge snacker. I just love to snack, and I can't snack because after first of all, you take them out to eat. You can't eat or drink anything with them in except water. So you take them out to eat, and then before you put them back in, you have to floss and brush your aligner. So it's a huge commitment. So I thought I might lose weight. I guess I'm going off on a tangent. I guess a little bit, but then I actually find that I'm eating more in a meal, because I don't want to take them out in a couple of hours. Like, I want to stay full for a longer period of time, so I don't have to take them out in 2 hours, and I don't have to brush my teeth 15 times a day. So getting that out of the way, maybe that's why I'm so drawn to mukbang, because I can't eat like I can't eat at that point in time. So I'm enjoying watching someone else eat. I have no idea. It's really weird, but I love it. I'm obsessed with mukbang. And I really like her. She's funny. She has really great, she says that she's a lazy cooker, which, I mean, she is a little bit, but I mean, a lot of people are, and it's not incredibly lazy. It's cool. And I've gotten a couple of recipes off of her channel, which is really cool. And the last mukbang I watched, she was eating vegan sushi, which looked delightful. Okay, so Cheap Lazy Vegan. I think her name is Rose. She's really great. That's non-knitting. Another non-knitting thing that I'm watching is Shetland, which is on Netflix, and it is based on the island of Shetland, and it's basically like a crime drama. So I'm almost done with that. We have 2 more episodes, but something happened into the third to the last episode, and it was actually really annoying. I don't remember if it was like a plot hole or what it was, but now my husband's on strike and he won't watch the last 2. So now I have to decide if he's going to watch them with me or if I'm going to have to watch them on my own, because I really want to finish it. But it's very cool. The scenery is really amazing. It just makes me want to go to Ireland and Scotland, and like so bad. So it's cool. All right. What I'm listening to. So I am almost done. I think I'm on the last episode of a podcast called Bagman. It is hosted by Rachel Maddow, and it's about Nixon's vice president, Spiro Agnew, and he basically was corrupt and doing illegal things in the White House, and it was all about his prosecution and his plea deal and everything like that. So if you're into like political history, it's kind of a cool podcast. And I like the way Rachel Maddow does it. So that's good. And then I just started Cold, which I said on the last one, I think that I wasn't ready to make a decision on whether or not I liked it. I've only listened to 1 episode, so I'm not really terribly motivated to listen to the second. I'm going to continue to listen to it eventually, but I haven't really been terribly motivated to start it. Or do the second episode. So maybe that's like a little indication of how I'm feeling about it right now. Not really sure, leaning toward not the greatest, but I guess we'll see as the show goes on. I'll definitely keep you updated on that. All right. So I don't know how long this has been because I can't see my phone. So I'm just going to keep on going. This is a new segment. I'm not sure if it's going to be a weekly thing. I'm not even sure if my podcast is a weekly thing, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do this on every episode of my podcast, but I am an information junkie. I love to know stuff about stuff, and so I Google a lot of things. So this is a new segment called What I Googled. Really catchy segment title, isn't it? So I was talking to some friends the other day, and we were talking about some people who are younger than me, and I called them Millennials, and I'm 33, and my husband will be 35 next month. So we tend to think the generation behind us is millennial, and we tend to say that a lot. So I've Googled it numerous times, what is a millennial? And we've gotten like these really huge ranges of birth years from like 1980 to like 2000, which I wouldn't consider myself in the same generation as I was born in 85. I wouldn't consider myself in the same generation as someone who was born in 2000, who's much younger than me. However, I found this, I'm going to put it, all my show notes will be down below, so I'm going to put the link to it, but I found it very interesting. This is it's an article called Alphabet Soup, Boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z Explained. And it talks about, baby boomers and all of that stuff. But what it said about millennials or Generation Y was quite interesting, and it made a lot of sense to me. So it does say the years born is between 1980 and 1994, which is a large age gap. So it's ages 24 to 38. So I thought that was interesting. However, it did say that they're generally separated. At the beginning of the article, it says that they are separated into Gen Y.1 and Gen Y.2. So Gen Y.1 is 24 to 28 years old, and Gen Y.2 is 28 to 38. So I would be in Gen Y.2. So the reason why they did this is because, okay, why bother splitting up Gen Y? not only are the two groups culturally different, but they're vastly different phases of their financial life. The younger group are financial fledglings just flexing their buying power, and the latter group, which is me, has a credit history, may have their first mortgage, and are raising toddlers. And the contrast in priorities and needs is vast. So marketing them as a single cohort will not be nearly as effective as segmenting your strategy and messaging. So this is all about like marketing towards these different generations. So then that made a lot of sense to me. So then I scroll down to where millennials or Generation Y are, and I just kind of read the descriptions to see if it fit, because I never really thought. I thought I was like on the tail end of Gen Y or millennial, and my husband really doesn't think that he's any part of Generation Y. So this is what it says, is that media consumption. 95% still watch TV. And this goes for the whole generation. It's not splitting it up right now, but it says 95% still watch TV, but Netflix edges out traditional cable as the provider. So my husband and I got rid of cable not that long ago. It was too expensive, and you can get all of these different things. Like we have Hulu Live right now, which is a monthly subscription, and you can get live TV. You literally get like 40 channels or 50 channels or something. Like you don't even really need cable anymore. And a lot of people in my age group don't have cable either. Okay. Cord cutting in favor of streaming services is the popular choice. This generation is extremely comfortable with mobile devices, but 32% will still use a computer for purchases. They typically have multiple social media accounts. So I have multiple social media accounts. My husband doesn't. I mean, he's got like Facebook and Instagram, but is like barely on them. But we definitely use, I mean, I have a computer and I have a laptop, but we really use, I mean, most of our buying is on our mobile device. Okay, banking habits. So millennials have less brand loyalty than previous generations. They prefer to shop products and features first and have little patience for inefficient or poor service. Because of this, millennials place their trust in brands with superior product history, such as Apple and Google. They seek digital tools to help manage their debt and see their banks as transactional as opposed to relational. So basically your bank is just for transactions. It's not because you have any kind of relationship with the people who work there. So that totally fits both my husband and I. Shaping events, which is really interesting. The Great Recession, the technological explosion of the internet and social media. So I think we got our first computer when I was like, I mean, I don't know. I think I was in high school. I might have been in junior high, but like, you know, I was older when my family got a computer, and definitely when we got the internet. I think I might have been in junior high, but you know, that basically I grew up on the internet, but not like some kids today that don't remember a world without the internet. I definitely remember a world without the internet. And then also 9/11. Okay, so what's next on their financial horizon? Millennials are entering the workforce with high amounts of student debt, which is so true. Not the case for me, but the case for a lot of people who I went to school with. This is delaying major purchases like weddings and homes. So a lot of people in my generation are waiting. I didn't wait. I was 20 when I got married, but we did wait. We were married 10 years before we even bought our house. So, and I also read somewhere else that the number one reason why millennials buy a home is to get a dog, which is why we bought a home, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's the most expensive dog I've ever gotten in my life. Okay, because of this financial instability, millennials prefer access over ownership, which can be seen through their preference for on-demand services. They want partners that will help guide them to their big purchases. And then the next generation that's coming into the workforce now, which is 95 to 2015, which I thought were millennials, are apparently Generation Z. And this is like, this is crazy, like accurate. They received their first mobile phone at age 10, which I think my brother was 10 when he got a phone. 8? I don't remember. He was a lot younger than I was. I had my license. Many of them grew up playing with their parents' mobile phones or tablets. They have grown up in a hyper-connected world, and the smartphone is their preferred method of communication. They spend at least 3 hours a day on their mobile device. Banking habits, they saw the struggle of the millennials, and they want to avoid debt and appreciate accounts or services that aid in that endeavor. And over 50% have not entered a bank branch in at least three months. I mean, I don't know if my husband's gone in a bank in the last 3 months. I have. I don't think I've gone in though. But I own my own business, so I definitely go to the bank a lot more than other people my age. But I'm not Gen Z anyway. Shaping events, smartphone, social media, never knowing a country not at war, and seeing the financial struggles of their parents who are Generation X. So yeah, so this actually, I just thought it was really interesting because I think social culture really interests me. And I really didn't think that I fit into what was before Generation Y. Sorry. Let me pull this back up because now I don't remember what was before Generation Y. Generation X. Okay, so Generation X is 1965 to 1975, and they're 79, and they're often called latchkey, the latchkey generation or the MTV generation. So knowing that generation, I didn't really think that I fit into that. And then thinking that millennials were younger than me, I didn't really think I fit into that. So all of these things about people saying, oh, these millennials, like I actually am considered a millennial, Y.2. So the generation is split in half, but I am technically a millennial, and a lot of the millennial attributes do fit with myself. So I just thought that that was really interesting, and I hope that you guys found it interesting too. So yeah, I guess that's it. I think that is a segment that I will like to keep because I do sometimes Google the strangest things. But I hope you guys find it as interesting as I did. And if not, that's cool too. So I guess that's it, guys. I'm saying a lot. I'm sorry. I really hope that you guys have a great week or two until I see you again. I hope that you find all the time that you would like to do, all of the things that you would like to do. And yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you guys. I did put it on my social media. I am going to Vogue Knitting Live, which is on January 26th. So that is in New York City. It is at the Marriott something in Times Square. I'll be going with my sister Sarah and a couple of friends. So I'm really excited to go do that. If you guys see me there, please say hello. It'd be so nice to meet you. And I'm really excited. I can't wait to go. I've never been before. So that'll be fun too. I live about a couple of hours. So basically we drive a half hour to get, I mean, I could get a train closer than that, but we drive into New Haven for the train. And then we just sit on a train for a couple of hours. So that'll be really fun to chat and knit. And I hope it's not freezing cold. And also I was thinking about this too. I really hope to have a coat check because we're going to be walking. It's less than a mile from Grand Central Station. And we're going to be walking. So I'm going to have a coat on and everything because it's cold. It's January. And it's also terribly, terribly windy in the city, like all the time in the winter. So, but the venue is inside. So I really hope they have a coat check because I really don't want to be lugging my heavy coat around. Anyway, that's it. My throat is getting dry and I will talk to you guys next time. Hope to see you at the video. Bye.